This is the SMG Blacklist podcast. This is Season 1, Episode 13, The Cyprus Agency, number 64. I'm your host, Jack Wengroski, and with me is...
Melissa Maxey.
And we're here to talk about the latest episode where the agency has been organizing adoptions. And so, of course, we know there's something nefarious right there because they're on the blacklist.
Yeah, the adoptions. It was interesting that it's adoptions considering Liz and Tom are trying to adopt a child. And she questions him when he hands her the file.
I guess anybody watching would question it. It's like, she's
not a coincidence. I don't believe it's a coincidence.
No. I mean, Red knows that she's trying to adopt the baby, and here's a whole adoption thing. And, when you, of course, with the stresses and seeing all that goes wrong and all the good that she does for the job. So Red's pulling her in one area, and of course Tom is trying to pull her in the other.
Yes, and she's very divided. You know, she tells him at the beginning of the episode, I want to stay home with the baby. I want to, spend some time bonding with the baby. And then Red hands her a file. Here, do this.
Right.
Adoption agency.
Of course, in the interest of furthering the show, it seems like whenever she's pulled, that Red gets the big pull, that Tom really doesn't get much of it.
Oh, no, Red, he totally has her manipulated.
Oh, yeah. So we see the pregnant mom, or was pregnant mom, wandering the streets kind of in a daze, and they took my baby. And of course, I tell you, with the last few episodes, I hate to say it, but I kind of almost expected her in that big medical nightgown that she was going to open it up and all sorts of manner of guts were going to come flying out. Did you have
No, I didn't have that image at all.
There's been
but I thought,
there's been so much of that lately.
Yeah. What it kind of reminded me of is, well, I don't know. I was just like, where are they going with this exactly? But when the guy came, jumped out of the van and came after her and was like, she's confused, and then he takes her again. I was like, okay, what is going on? What exactly is happening here? Because she's looking for her baby, and, so, I mean, there was a lot of confusion at the beginning because you didn't really know where they were going to go with it.
Right, and I was surprised that they killed her and the cop. You would have had to, to kind of avert suspicion, you would have had to have a cleanup crew so that these people just kind of disappear quietly. This is a lot in the middle of the street and witnesses, and nobody really thought, oh, hey, there's something going on here.
Yeah, it was sloppy.
It was very sloppy. It kind of made mixed signals as we kind of get along. The guy that they're following gets cornered by the task force, so Liz and Garrett, and he acts like, oh, you don't understand, they're gonna come after me.
Yeah, because they found out it was this adoption agency,
right?
And that's where we meet Mr. Mallory and Ted Caldwell, which is he's their counsel, and so they tell this couple who are going to adopt a child that they want them to get information. So they meet with the Ted in that cafe.
Yeah.
And they spook him.
Oh yeah, could that have been any more awkward?
Oh, that was awkward. I mean, as soon as they switched coffee cups, I was like, oh no. I'm like, this is gonna go bad.
Yeah, it's like a scene from Max from Agent what's that TV show? Oh, Get Smart.
Oh yeah.
Let's switch the coffee cups because they might have put the poison in. Right. They might have put the poison in mine or yours or yeah, something's going a little weird. So where did you get my future baby
Baby.
from.
Yeah, all the questions. As soon as they started asking questions,
Yeah.
and I mean, Liz and Wrestler on the outside, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
you know. So,
So he
and
starts.
Liz is, what's funny is in every episode, it kind of starts out this way, where they have something like that, where, they have someone try to do some undercover work for them. And Liz ends up having to run in there after, to kind of settle it down or whatever. And then, what do you know? Ted's like, you don't know what's going on, and he steps in front of a bus. I'm like, I'm like, wait.
Yeah, and
So,
was that like an accident? They didn't even
oh,
say.
that no, that wasn't an accident. He did that on purpose. He didn't. He knew he was caught. He didn't want to.
Well, yeah,
He
but
knew.
it was really hard to tell. I didn't feel like he quite
Oh no,
stepped.
I saw. Oh no, I did. I saw him. I was watching, and I
Yeah,
replayed it again. And he, moves out there, and you can see him. He can see the bus coming,
and he just backs
and
right into it.
he just like steps one step over, and he's like in front of it.
I guess the reason that they were afraid is because of what this group does, but I tell you, they definitely have some henchmen, but this was not an organization that I was very impressed with.
No, it wasn't X-Files at all.
No, and not a very tactical group like the ones that came after Red a couple episodes ago. That is a group to be afraid of.
Yes.
Even the FBI task force, that's a group to be afraid of. This group, you know, yeah, they'd probably club you to death very awkwardly, and you'd wake up 6 months later in a coma and find out that you were. Uh, it's like
We're pregnant with someone's child.
right.
Uh,
They yeah, they didn't convince me of the. I mean, the horrific nature of the crime was terrible, but I never really had that much confidence in the evil team. Yeah,
no, they were too sloppy.
yeah, they
I mean, we
were.
said that before. It wasn't managed very well.
Right. Yeah, you just if you're gonna do that, like take your own life before the your own team gets to you, then they better be like some bad whats. That's
Well,
all I
I
gotta
thought the
say.
storyline was interesting because, I mean, there's been a lot of reports in the news about, doctors that have, done this sort of things.
Right.
Not the put a bunch of girls in a coma and have a bunch of babies, but,
No, but
fertility clinics where the doctor was the one inseminating all the women.
oh yeah, it was funny. I made that connection really towards the end. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, when he's the father of like 25 of
600
these kids.
babies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where have I heard that before?
Yeah.
Some Atlanta clinic. Why is everything that happens like that is in Atlanta?
Well, the one I saw was he was a British scientist, fathered 600 babies.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Everybody in the town is related. So, so this guy goes splat on the bus, and then they transfer back to Agent Malik, and she's being interviewed by Red. And of course, I thought, we talked about this last episode where we were pretty sure that he was going to keep Malik alive and kind of string her along, use her a little bit.
Right.
But this exchange went rather quickly. Well, you could kill me and find out nothing, or you could use me.
I liked, his interaction with it's Teddy Brimley, the guy he had, kind of interrogate her before he got there. It's pretty funny. And their interaction was pretty funny.
Yeah, he says,
but you're right. I mean,
that girl's cleaner than a duck fought.
Yeah, and that was all over Twitter.
That was funny.
That was funny.
But
yeah, you're right. The exchange was too short. I mean, I thought there was going to be more. I thought there was going to be more hitting or blood, or
I guess
I thought there was going to be some syringes, and I was expecting a little bit more of torture, but she just kind of laid over and gave him all the information he wanted.
I think since everything has been so torture like intensive, I think maybe that they decided to back off of that a little bit and just assume that she got a little bit of a beating or something. I mean, she wasn't like, they made her seem like that she was very tired, and but like you said, yeah, that it's not, she didn't look like she endured.
Well, it wasn't an end game one where, before where he's interrogating someone that he, gets information out of, he eliminates them. Well, he needs her, so he's not going to, you know, torture her as much as everyone else, and that explains the short exchanges because he wants to use her for something else.
Right. And much like, uh, like, I think the other reason is she couldn't go, if she was going to be alive, she couldn't go back to work with scars and bruises.
Right.
So,
Yeah, because she has to present a front if she's going to be his inside person to get information.
so I guess they just kind of left that up to our imagination to figure out how they accomplished that one.
Yeah, and I was disappointed in the whole, she's not the mole since I thought that she was. My bad.
Well, she did have, she, she was given some sort of information from the mole, right? She executed some part of that plan. She just didn't know who it was from.
Right.
So
Right. And so that was her job, was to find out more information, so that was her next task after she arrived back at headquarters, was to get into Harold's computer.
right. Well, I think what you're looking at there is this kind of saves her character from being cut, and it saves the
Yes.
integrity thing. Well, she's not. She was part of the problem, but she's, well, maybe she wasn't exactly the mole. She had a couple issues.
She was a means to an end.
Right. And so she got used a little bit, and now we're over it.
Yeah.
So she can come
I
back.
don't feel bad about it. I mean, I don't feel bad about, her not being the mole and getting information. I mean, I thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah. I mean, she's an integral character, and it would kind of be a shame to develop all that and just to get rid of her just for, fun's sake.
Yeah. It gives her more that they can work with her later on, because now we know that she is susceptible to a little bit of corruption. So that way, Red can use her later on for something else.
So that is our search for the mole. Apparently, continues from there. We get back to
to the case.
Get back to the case, and we find out there's 27 separate files on this guy's computer hidden about missing women. Red kind of put her on and say, "Hey, don't necessarily look at the kids. Look at the mom and figure out that connection."
Yeah. So then she was like, and he's like, don't think of it as the normal, these are missing women.
Right.
And then she's like, oh, the criminal aspect. Let's look at that angle.
Yeah, there's no criminal past for these women, but as it turns out, they're all missing.
Yeah.
So we, and that's, of course, that's when we all go, oh my God, they're harvesting these. It's like
yeah.
It's like the pregnant women version of oh God, what's the name of that movie? The blue pill, red pill.
I can't remember.
Starts.
But it reminded me of the X-Files.
Oh God, what's that stupid movie with Most Excellent, Bill and Ted's Great Adventure guy, The Matrix.
Oh yeah, the pods.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, the human pods. So yeah, it's totally the pregnant woman's version of the Matrix. I'm going, oh, that is terrible. You could just almost see the vision of these women just hooked up to IVs and knocked out, and sure enough,
that's what they were doing.
Yeah, and then of course we start to find out about this. They flash back to Agent Malik, and she scooped up Agent Director Cooper's ID badge and got the computer info, which is funny because Cooper really thinks that, like he and Malik are like kind of special buddies. Like the other two are almost outsiders now.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
And
I
it's
got that too. I got the connection that they feel
like he can confide in her,
uh-huh.
and it's like, boy, that's the last one you should be confiding in. On top of that, she just skanked your ID.
Yeah, the director doesn't need to have any friends.
Yeah. And he's not convinced there's a mole. Not only is there a mole, but she knows there's a mole because she's grabbing the documentation from classified files using his ID.
Yep.
Well,
Mm.
so now we've got this like little weird Matrix white slavery thing going on. And so they're going in. They've gone into the. They got to get proof. So they start digging into our subject here, and we find out Owen Mallory and Charles Lasseter Jr., who is adopted. He had taken a different name and gone to Harvard under this assumed identity, and so he actually did the work, but had changed his name and done all these things. And they start digging, and this guy's real name is Michael Shaw. So we,
Yeah, that's when they find his adoptive parents.
yeah, and so now we've got motive. So we, at first we are not sure if it's this guy. So now we're positive. He's got opportunity, motive. Sitting on scads of money, and find out this guy has severe detachment disorder, and
Yeah,
so
from his parents, the interview with his parents, it gave us a lot of insight into him, but it also gave us some information about Liz and her own adoption. Which I
right.
thought was a great tie-in.
It's funny. I really thought with this adoption scam that somehow their baby was going to wind up in the middle of it. And I was kind of glad that
That's what I thought too. I thought that too. I thought, oh no, they're adopting. That their adoption is through like an agency like this, or they're getting their baby. You know, I thought the same thing at the beginning.
I know, and I'm kind of glad that they didn't go that way because it would have been way too coincidental. But yeah, that would have definitely been a reason for Red to plug this in. But
Or for them not to have the adoption, not to go
yeah,
through with it.
yeah, because Red doesn't like Tom.
No, he
Red,
doesn't trust him.
he's still convinced that this guy's
So,
working for somebody else.
yeah, and he keeps warning her. It seems like every episode he gives her a warning about it.
Yeah, and I still think, of course,
I mean,
we're fast forwarding to the end because we don't see the girlfriend now till the very end of the show.
right.
I almost thought, wow, that was quick. She's just out of the picture. But oh yeah, the moment there's a problem, he's out
He goes
talking.
running to her.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if you're an agent trying to get her to pull out from her thing, why would you care that much? Why would you be that bummed and, you need the other shoulder to cry on? That's why I'm starting to figure that, I mean, they've just laid it
Because
out.
it,
They've laid it everything out just so easy for us to believe Tom is an agent. But is he that naive that all of his actions point to that way and he's just a walking goober?
I don't I don't know. I haven't quite figured out the Tom angle yet.
Yeah,
I can't figure out if they're like misleading us with him or if he's actually an agent with someone else.
I know,
Like
but at this point, I'm getting mad either way.
why? Because he's betraying Liz?
Well, if he is, then why is he going about the way he's doing it? And if he's
He
not,
wants to hurt her.
right, and if you were but if your job is to try to lure her away from this gig, boy, he's just failing. You know,
That's why I know that's why it doesn't fit for him to be an agent,
it doesn't.
because he would be more precise. He would be and he's sloppy and clumsy and like emotional about stuff.
Right, and that kind of points it away from it, but all the weird stuff that he does and those like reactions that it's like I just want to grab him and shake him, but I don't want him to get like shaken baby syndrome.
Well, I wonder what they're going to do. I wonder, because he's being lured or that girl, Jolene, is luring him away. So, I mean, and Red is pulling Liz the other way. So, what's the purpose of that? What are they trying to do with that? I mean,
I,
is it going to be that Liz is going to have to save him and that's going to bond them closer together? Or is it going to pull them further apart? And why? Why does it matter?
well, I
Except
think
that Red wants Liz's attention. He wants her to do something for him.
I think it gives us that element of tension and release. Is that, well, first off, if the series wants to keep going, Liz isn't going to quit until the finale.
Well, she's never going to quit.
She's never right. She's never going to quit.
No,
So
because the FBI is going to be. I mean, she's already chosen.
right, it's her show. I mean,
I know.
it's like her and Spader are the big stars. So it's, I guess from that angle in the back of my head's going, well, she's going nowhere. And, that's what she does. This is her job. She's always been an FBI profiler. She's not the mommy type. She's in a career that, like the supervisor, the head lead agent of this group said, family comes third. It's work, 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 and family.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting little tie-in too for her trying to make a decision about staying home with a baby. Seemed like every time she was like in a scene, there was something being thrown at her, to help her make her decision.
Yeah. And I don't know why I'm getting so mad at Tom, because it's just like
Well,
whatever.
what's he gonna do though? I mean, she's chosen her job, and if he is legit her husband and not an agent, then and he wants a family, he's already gonna feel isolated and alone or disconnected from her because she's making a choice that doesn't include him. So now he's mad because he's being excluded,
Right.
and he found this nice girl that he can talk to about art and
And of
life.
course, I think we're going to be led to believe that she's being hired by Red to pull him away, and then we're going to find out, oh, it's not Red. Because we found
Yeah.
that out with the surveillance videos. We found out with a host
Well,
of other things.
nothing is as it seems.
Right.
We've learned that in the episodes up
So
to now.
right, and so now we have to wait patiently until they decide to answer that question. So, speaking of the questions, do you have any of the 31 questions that?
I do.
All right. Well, let's hear a few of them. What do you got?
Let's see. Um, there's number 18 is called Trying to Forget, and it says Red buys and then blows up the house where he raised his family because he spends every day trying to forget what happened here. No
Okay.
doubt this ties to the mystery surrounding his wife and perhaps especially his daughter. Question is, what specifically happened in that house? What memories does he want to forget? And he talked, if we move on to, the end of the show when he confronts the mole,
Was it that was a surprise, wasn't it?
not too much. I mean, figured it had to be a high up figure.
Right. And she's been a pain in the everybody's butt.
Yeah. Yeah. And she was all high and mighty thinking she could do whatever she wanted, and Red's like, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's
He's
not
like,
that's
I
not
don't
part of
have
the
a deal
agreement.
with you. Yeah, I don't have an agreement with you. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
But he reveals something at that point about, because she says she knows everything. And you get the impression that this whole thing may be about just finding his family.
Well, and I think we're finding out exactly what happened, because obviously he was away when this happened, and of course I guess was she the director of the FBI, or she's the part of the House committee, or well, she's way up there somewhere, and she knows exactly what happened, and I can't believe that he didn't pump her for at least some of that info, but he was so mad that he wasn't playing.
Yeah, because once he talked with her, and she's like, well, you can't shoot me because I'm too important. And he's like, he does it. He shoots her.
Yeah,
I was like,
first in the stomach because that's like a slow, painful death.
oh, slope, yes.
And then after that, he unloads like 3 or 4 extra. I think it was 3 more rounds into her.
Yeah.
You know, the first one was just fine, and then 2 were just out of spite.
Yeah.
So what else is on that list?
Um, it's talks about Mr. Fitch.
Oh, that's the one that Red has to deal with.
Yeah.
Alan Alda.
Yeah. It says, turns out Mr. Fitch is a high-ranking government official. We know the people he represents don't want Red letting their big secret out, but how does his role as a senior member of government factor into things? It's worth noting that Fitch tells director Diane Fowler that her asset, Red, could be a threat to national security, and the effort to eliminate him was the work of a patriot, aka Garrick, aka Fitch, and his people. Bigger picture clue.
Ah, so we're getting like a little. They set up Red as a homeland security problem,
Yeah.
and so that way they could use the resources on top of the mole. Yeah, that's interesting. So, as I guess, have we considered that an unanswered question?
Yeah, that's an unanswered question. So down below, I have some questions they answered.
What do you got there?
Um, well, this one says, why is Lizzie so keen to adopt? And it says because she herself is adopted.
Oh,
Oh, this is a cool little tidbit. The number 042983.
right.
He gives Red an envelope containing these numbers as payment. Red later enters the numbers, which turn out to be a case file, into a violent criminal apprehension program, where it coughs up details on a 30-year-old woman born 7/5/1983 named Lucy Brooks. It's also Megan Boone's birthday. That was a cool little tidbit.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny. Of course, weren't we discussing whether or not that the girl that's going after Tom Keene, that's not Lucy Brooks?
Yeah, Lucy Brooks. It says here, it talks about Lucy. There's an age discrepancy. It says Lucy is recorded as being 30 years old in the VICAP database, but 28 in the obituaries column of the newspaper. Is this a discrepancy, or is it explained by the fact that she's some kind of undercover agent? And what does she want with Tom?
Which means that maybe she's not from Red's department or
Maybe.
Red's network. Red's kind of searching out. He's searching for her. So to me, it sounds. Of course, everything is not as it seems in this show, but it seems like she must be operating from somewhere outside of Red's domain.
Right.
So I don't know if that's to me. I don't think that's an answered question.
No. Oh, this one. The songbird, aka Mole, who helped Garrick invade the black site, capture Red. The person responsible was none other than his trusted assistant, Newton Phillips.
Right.
It talks about the Major Mole. After discovering that Newton Phillips helped Garrick invade the FBI Blacklist, Red believes he had help from the inside, someone with a far greater access. The Major Mole appeared to be Agent Malik after Red's tech guys found her signature on a shredded security document. However, Malik helped Red weed out the actual mole, who turns out to be the FBI director. She's aware of Red's relationship with Fitch and claims to have signed the security directive for his protection, but Red either doesn't buy it or doesn't care and kills her anyway.
Right. Well, I mean, he's got protection right now either way, so that's just an empty threat. But yeah, it does kind of, we really needed to kind of answer that mole thing, so I think that is an answered question. So we go back to the episode and we start our search for the hydroxapam. I liked Red's contact for that.
Oh, that was really good.
So we go in, we've got they go up to the house, and apparently he's a very nice drug dealer and told her not to be judgmental or something like to that effect. And they go out looking for the hydroxapam. And and here was a quote for Red. He's always these random facts. And that the cul-de-sac was invented 2,000 years ago in Egypt. In Egypt, and it made entrance, like the enemy, difficult to infiltrate the cities.
Because they kept because they can never find their way in or something.
Right. And I live on a cul-de-sac, and it's actually when you kind of get down in here and wind around, it's really kind of hard to find like north, south, east, and west. Uh, so, and the other thing was they compared the hydroxypam to Betamax. Now, does anybody under the age of 30 even know what that reference means?
I don't think so, because nobody ever said anything about it on Twitter.
Oh, that's funny. Well,
Which is totally funny because Twitter's full of a bunch of nerds.
I know, and they should know anything that is Betamaxed is Betamax and VHS kind of got in competition for, videotaping systems.
Yeah.
And Betamax was, by far the better system. I think it was Sony that had gone through that.
Mm-hmm.
But another company did VHS, and it was cheaper, and they, kind of did a little more, a little more advertising, and being cheaper and kind of more out there, people really latched onto that, even though Betamax was by far the better system. So now anything that's Betamaxed, is, it's just, it got kind of, it was so good, but, lesser things kind of took over in its place. And the hydroxypam was much too powerful a drug. And so we find out, it's used.
Oh, that's when he looks them up. That's when
Right.
he looks up all the doctors that are using the medication. He's like, well, these are all
Sleep therapists.
Sleep therapists. Yeah, 6 sleep therapists, and the 7th one is a fertility doctor.
And it was like, oh, okay, well, we found our, he's, we
an
know that
OBGYN is what I think they said.
Right. So now they've been keeping these girls in coma state. Now we know when, where, and how they've been doing it. So now now they have to go to find Mallory. And of course, the holy crap moment where they go into the lab. And
and he's shooting.
It's like, there's all the women.
There's all the women.
Right. In their little matrix beds, dreaming happy thoughts while they're, giving multiple births. I liked how he used one of the women as a rag doll to pin down
to Liz.
Liz.
He just pulls her off the bed.
I almost called her Scully. You and your X-Files.
I know, but the girls in their coma state reminded me of Scully when she was like, when they,
in the
call her over.
Yeah, that's right. In the alien ship.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've got
all that was missing was the dark room and the creepy music.
Yep. So they've got. So now they get their man. Of course, that was very sloppy. She's supposed to be an agent, and this doctor basically almost incapacitates her and is ready to kill her. I thought, I guess she's not really a field agent, but I thought, man, her training should be a little better than to succumb to like creepy doctor guy.
Yeah, but then Rustler can come in and save her.
That's true. And I did like the fact that he just winged him.
Oh, that was excellent.
And,
yeah, that was good. Though I almost thought Rustler was going to blow the place up when he was shooting in the lab area with all of the gas. I'm like, stop shooting.
If that was oxygen, that whole thing would have, of course, blown up. Of course, that's what in the movie, that's what we're always led to believe, Open up the oxygen tank and shoot into it and the building explodes. But I'm not going to try and disprove that theory anytime soon, and nobody else should.
What, you're not going to run into a lab with your weapon and start shooting it?
No.
Canisters?
Really, right. So, she starts grilling him. He's, we find out that his motivation is he's felt like he's been returned like as bad property. And
yeah, because he was adopted, and his parents, he said, he felt like the parents only adopted him to look good on their Christmas card.
Right.
Made him feel bad that they gave him back.
And the funny thing was, I really wish that she had, after all this and all his craziness and the fact that, he reveals the reason he did this is, to father all those children. That he was, even if I am broken goods, look at my legacy. And it was like,
Yeah.
okay, that was a little creepy.
That was a little twisted.
But to me, the knife in the back that what Liz could have done is say, you know what? They wanted to keep you. It was your actions and that really the foster system, made them kind of return. That they were disappointed. They still, they still think about you and never thought of you as, bad goods, never wanted to return you in the first place.
Yeah, they just, they were at a point in their lives where they weren't ready.
Right.
And it had nothing to do with him. It was about themselves, but they made him feel bad because, they made that decision. They made the decision to adopt him, and then they turned around and reneged on the decision. And it made him feel bad.
Well, yeah, but did they renege on their decision, or didn't the adoption agency kind of say, you're not ready?
Well, I think that when they were talking with Liz in their home, they talked about how, that they realized that they weren't ready, that maybe they had, not waited long enough or.
Right. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to say, but the funny thing was, I really wanted her to say, you know what? They still care about you. They didn't want to return you, but like felt they had to because of the way you acted. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, Mr. Freak Out.
And that makes it so broken,
I know.
because I mean they're broken and he's broken and Liz, she was adopted, but it wasn't like that. She had a loving relationship with her adopted father,
Right.
but she's trying to decide if she wants to adopt. So the tie-in between the adoption agency and Liz adopting was really quite brilliant because, I mean, it makes you think about all these different, aspects of it.
Yeah, that's funny. Oops. Where was I? Oh, at the doctor. Boy, I just lost my train of. I went to do a search right quick, and I totally lost my train of thought. I guess because it's 1 a.m. and. So yeah, we've talked.
So the doctor. So after they talk with the doctor, I mean that's when they show Red.
Oh yeah, sundown. You better take care.
We kind of yeah. That was. I like how the episodes have that they correlate music that corresponds with what's going on in the scene.
Oh yeah, you better take care. There's somebody downstairs. And he's like sitting in the chair waiting for the director.
I like how afterwards.
Sundown, you better take care. If I find you've been creeping round my back stairs.
Yeah.
Sitting in the chair with the gun. All right, it's going down. So facing off with the director. Diane's the rat. We know it.
And he eliminates her.
Yeah, that kind of. Yeah, I guess he's been. Of course, because of the mole was part of the reason that he got abducted from Fitch's group and beat up and almost lost Liz in the process. So he's really still ticked off about this. So I guess it doesn't surprise me, but it kind of does.
That's why he says at the end, I'm sorry, it was a little messier this time because he was angry.
Yeah, and I love Mr. Kaplan.
Oh, I do too.
It's not even a mister.
I know. I love her.
Yeah.
The cleaner. Love her.
Just holds his hand, gives him a little kiss. I understand. Yeah. That's why I'm here.
Reminds me of the movie Point of No Return.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good bridge. And so, to wrap it up here, we've got Tom with his girlfriend, just about the time we've kind of almost forgot about her.
Yeah, we thought she was out of the picture, and all of a sudden, nope.
Yeah, we
knew that there had to be more to that. There was going to be more tie-in. That's a good bridge. They'll probably give us more the next time they come back on, which is after the Olympics.
Right. And I thought that they kind of went a little too much with Liz saying, she's not ready, but alluding to the fact that their marriage has serious problems. I don't know that they've established that their marriage has serious problems. I
Well,
think,
they kind of did in the last episode because, he made that dinner for her and she said she would be home so they could work some stuff out. And then she didn't come home and she made that phone call and I'll just bring Chinese home.
right. Well,
So
that's not the marriage that's having problems.
no.
It's her that's having problems.
Well, it's a communication problem, something that they haven't really addressed yet.
Well, I don't know. I mean, to me, that's like, she's wrapped up in her job. She shouldn't have even kind of got into this baby thing, and he's been pushing for it, but she's just not there. And it's,
Well, except before she got roped into Red, I mean, she was just planning on being an FBI profiler. I mean, she wasn't going to be doing a lot of, field work. It's not like it was, Mulder on the X-Files was a profiler before he was on the X-Files, and he was, but
yeah,
I mean, he was kind of behind the scenes. But she just got pulled in right away. I mean, she's a rookie,
right.
and all of a sudden she's in the middle of all of these, all this conspiracy, all this stuff that's going on. It's more than she was anticipating because she was planning on having a family.
Right.
But now she's like, I'm not ready. I'm in the middle of this. I can't just step away from this. I'm in the middle of it.
Right. And I would have liked to her to kind of address that, just what's happening on with work. It's just, the bad timing and really not address, like they're having problems. Really, she's kind of in the middle. All work is the problem. And of course, Tom trying to pry her away from that, like, very blatantly. I guess that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, that is the biggest problem. And he's having trouble dealing because she really is in the middle of it. It's not like she can just step away. I mean, Reddington has her manipulated and in the throes of what he's trying to accomplish, and Tom kind of knows that he doesn't really have a say now.
Right.
He can't really do anything about it. It's her job.
Right. And her job is very clear that, family does not come first in that scenario. So it's like 3 against 1 as far as, with Liz and work and Liz and Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
so that's why he's going to, that other girl and Jolene / Lucy.
But that did surprise me. I thought, you can't say that we're not having problems. Well, yeah, he can go tell that to his girlfriend that he's fixing to go see. I thought that was a little too easy.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Well, I guess, is there anything left on our list?
Just to talk about our Twitter handles and our Instagram account.
All right. Well, let's see. I will start with my Twitter is at jwengroski, WENGROSKY. And what about you've got a personal one and you've got the show ones, right?
Yeah, I have a personal one. It's at MSMaxi, and the show one is at Blacklist Pod. And then we have an Instagram account, which is The Blacklist Pod.
The Blacklist Pod. And when you go into do your Twitter feed, but don't forget we're on iTunes and Stitcher, and the best thing that you can do for the show is reviews. Any reviews are golden. You will see us on
Tell us if you love us. Tell us if you hate us.
Just tell you. Don't tell me. No.
They love me.
And don't forget our sponsors, tweakedaudio.com. Got some great headphones. If you use the code Southgate, you will get 30% off of the earbuds. And on the southgatemediagroup.com website, there's also audiobook link. The sponsor there is audible.com. It's great if you like audiobooks. They're great for the car, great for everything else.
We also have a Facebook page, SMG Blacklist Pod.
All right. So go to our Facebook, go follow our Twitters, All right, well, this has been the SMG Blacklist podcast, which has been brought to you by the Southgate Media Group. And check out our webpage at southgatemediagroup.com. And I've been your host, Jacqueline Grosky, and with me,
Melissa Maxey.
All right, have a good one.
See you then.
If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fun going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world.